Hold on the painting just a minute. Well, as we were talking about earlier, just tell me a little bit about Block's relationship with history. Yeah. Okay, hold on the painting. Start again. Just talk to me a little bit about the relationship of this particular block in this room with the other artists.
This room here at the Nelson Gallery is the American Gallery of more early 20th century paintings, going from 1915 to actually 1980, but largely from the 30s and 40s. And Block was at that time working in Lawrence and really was paying much less attention to artists working in New York or San Francisco or other parts of the country. And his work stands out more in a unique sense, in contrast to a lot of the contemporary artists of his time. But there are similarities, and Margie Conrads, the curator of American art here at the Nelson, has purposely hung the Albert Block next to the Andrew Wyeth. And there she's making the statement of comparing visions of a winter scene. Now, winter could be done either as a snowy scene with kids playing in the snow, or it could be the cold, dark, kind of forbidding sense. And that is what Albert Block is talking about, and that's what Andrew Wyeth is talking about, although in different vocabularies.
Just briefly for me, kind of tell me, how did you first learn Albert Block?
Well, it was really just a few months after I'd started here at the Nelson in 1984. Anna Block and two young women from the Spencer Museum in Lawrence brought, gosh, an ambulance full of Albert Blocks that were on stretchers. They'd been rolled up by Albert Block in Germany and brought back to America and had remained off of stretchers until they brought them to me in 1984 for restoration.
Well, I mean, that's interesting. Explain to me Anna Block's role in leading, like you and others, to view 80s paintings. I mean, could you just tell me a little bit about her role in all of that?
Well, her role, of course, is central. You know, she carries the torch, but as his wife and now widow, she's been the caretaker of the collection, but it's not only a physical caretaker, but a spiritual one as well. She doesn't scream about Albert Block or anything like that. She's just a quiet, strong force behind you know, the current sense of what's going on.
What attracts you to Albert Block's work?
Well, there's a lot of different variety within Albert Block's work. From the early German period, different variety within that period. His later work, his American period work, there's a lot of variety there. There's a great deal of thought, there's a depth in his work. You are always asking yourself questions when you're trying to look at them and understand them. There are aesthetic beauty aspects that come across very easily. But then there are intellectual questions that you're always working through. And his relationship to artists in Germany as a starting point puts a wonderful spin on everything that he did later.
Well, what do you think the community reaction has been to his work?
It's actually interesting because when I talk to friends that know a lot about art history in America and they've heard of Albert Block, they don't know a lot about him. These are people that might live in Philadelphia or New York or something. And then the Nelson, working with the Lembach House, the German Expressionist Museum in Munich, put together this small retrospective of Albert Block's work a couple of years ago that traveled the country and went to Germany. And there was an opportunity to see a whole variety of Block's work, and I think that people responded quite well to it. They largely were sort of beginning to address questions of dealing with this complex artist.
What do you think is happening right now in the marketplace with 80 paintings?
I think that you know, through the 80s, if we start there, there have been some very big sales. There haven't been all that many pieces that have come on the market, but in more recent times. By market, we're talking public market, the auction houses. And I think that there has been, you know, a real growth because he's now being recognized in the context that he should be. And so that reflects itself in the marketplace as well. And I think that prices are likely to be strong for the works. I think that for the American period, which is yet to be fully discovered, I think there'll be perhaps a little more time for that discovery to take place.
Can you explain to me a little bit how people have come to purchase his works or give them to museums?
Yeah, our show that traveled a couple of years ago there were 2 books that came out, 2 wonderfully illustrated books that came out in conjunction with that show on block, catalog, and so on. Then not long after that, the Hollis Taggart Gallery, which is a very important gallery in New York City, did a major focus on block, and they offered some paintings for sale at that point and sold some expensive paintings at that point. And that was really just a year ago. And so that's sort of where we are at this time in the marketplace.
We went to the Hollis Taggart.
Okay, good, good.
Personally, I mean, for you, what have you gained from this experience with sort of this restoration or rediscovery of the Block?
Well, it's nothing that's in the past tense. It's by far in the present tense.